Welcome to episode 22, folks. Chasin Tails podcast. We got a great one. Another unlimited driver joining us tonight. Dustin Echols is in the lobby waiting to hear some of your questions leading up to the Gold Cup this coming weekend. I feel like we've been talking about San Diego for a long time now, and it's finally here. Guys excited? Lots of GPs, the unlimited show for the Gold Cup. What's your thoughts?
It's going to be a hell of a weekend. It's going to be jam-packed. There's beyond unlimiteds and GPs. There's a lot of different boats showing up.
Yeah, flat
bars,
bottoms and wide boats. Yeah,
Corey Peabody says it's going to be awesome because there's palm trees.
that's it. That's it. Just the
Palm trees.
Yep. Yeah, that's going to be exciting, though. A lot of good action, obviously. We're hoping to get a couple more unlimited drivers. There's a couple that are traveling to San Diego already. One that's still trying to find lane one. You can figure out who that one is. But we're going to go ahead and bring Dustin on here. Let's get his take on the Gold Cup.
Let's do it.
Hey, Dustin, how you doing?
How are you guys?
What's up, buddy?
Not too
Doing
bad.
good.
Shit's not.
We don't have the pressure laying on us like you do. How you feeling leading up the week of the Gold Cup?
Pretty good. I'm feeling actually pretty relaxed. We're ready.
That's good. Yeah, that boat's definitely set up for this kind of course, but the fighting for lanes, we talked about it in previous podcasts with the other guys. It seems like that's something everyone's trying to learn. What's your outlook on that going into San Diego with the saltwater?
Yeah, we have had a kind of an outlook on the fighting for lanes this year of not taking ourselves out before the race. We've seen several times where guys, either get washed down or something happens, they'll take themselves out. So that's been our goal is not doing that and just kind of relying on a fast boat ride to get through there. But we might change it up a little bit this weekend. I think everyone's going to be a little sensitive to the salt, and we've taken a lot of steps to make our boat better equipped, and I'm feeling pretty good. So we might change it up a little bit.
That's good. That's definitely exciting to hear. We're excited to see it. I mean, only 6 H1 Unlimiteds, but I think all 6 have a chance to win, and that's got to be one cool thing going into the Gold Cup, not knowing who the big player is, who's going to be the top dog. It's unique for H1 this year.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a fan of boat racing, just like you guys are, and you look at the field and what we're doing, and also, all the other classes too, and you look at just how fast everyone is and how competitive they are, and I just can't wait to put our boat up against these other guys. And like you said, the 2.5 mile race course really suits our setup. So I think Tri-Cities, it was a little disappointing seeing it go to the 2 mile, but now going back to the big course, we can't wait.
That's awesome.
So I've been wondering. So you started out in the 440, and then you moved up to the bigger boat. What was the difference between the two? And did you have a big learning curve from going from the smaller one to the bigger one?
The 440, it drives more like a GP does. That thing makes a ton of torque. The way that those engines are set up, they make a lot of horsepower, but a ton of torque. So the acceleration's, incredible. It doesn't pack the air like the bigger Unlimiteds do. It spills the air, and it kind of rides nose down. And it absolutely hates the rough water. So getting into the bigger boat, it floats like a 5 liter, and it likes the rough water. It does just fine. It's nice to be able to go into these heat races with the other guys with the same size boat, so we don't have to worry about hitting a hole here or there. The big boats, they like to float. It's they can get away from you quick. I had the whole goal of not tipping it over and learning the boat, trying to take my time, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So this thing's set up really good, though. Kelly and Taylor, they spent a lot of time with Dave and made it ride really nice. So it's nice for me to be able to jump in and have a good boat ride, right off the bat.
Yeah, it's pretty nice when you have someone like Vilwalk set up a boat. That guy, he probably knows more about setting up an Unlimited than anyone on the circuit. So it's definitely fortunate to have him, do that and then be able to drive it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty lucky for sure. Kelly's been around the sport a long time also, and he can step back and look at a boat and say, sure would be nice if we we could change this or change that, and having his skill set, we can actually do that. And Taylor Evans, he's one of the youngest crew chiefs I've seen, and one of the hardest working. And we'll look at a project and I'll think, man, that's a lot of work. Do we really want to do that? And he says, what are you talking about? Of course we're going to do that. And so, if we can make it better, he's all over it. And, it might take us till 2 a.m, but he says, yeah, let's do it. No problem. So it's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that we talk about that a lot on the podcast, is a lot of the things that you learn and change that almost makes the racing more fun. To go out there and you give your feedback, the team comes together, comes up with a change, and you go out there and you cut it apart and you do these things. If we race the same thing every week, it get pretty boring. But wanted to bring it back to your unfortunate accident in Madison. How cool was it for you to have Pat McAfee just boost you all over the internet?
It was pretty cool. I got off the airplane and my phone exploded, as soon as I turned it back on, and I read my messages from my wife first, and she's like, oh man, this is really blown up. And I was so sore and out of it, I thought I'll deal with it later, and I couldn't, because there were so many people talking about it. But it is pretty cool just to get our sport talked about, mainstream media. So any publicity is good publicity. So if it got on TV and got people talking about it, then who cares?
Exactly.
Like a flying squirrel.
Yeah, there's some interesting choice of words on that one. It was pretty funny. But yeah, like you said, any media is good media, especially at a mainstream like he is. Talk to us a little bit about that accident. They said, I think we heard the one time it delaminated sponson, and that's what took you over. Obviously the boat ride was good up until the point of takeoff. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, I've said it a few times before. I love Madison, and Madison just hasn't been good to me. So we kind of got through that weekend, up to that point pretty good, and we thought, well, we'll just finish out and get some points here. We were doing pretty well on the points, and I wasn't going to push it, and we weren't doing anything crazy. And then the boat got light, and it wasn't responding, to the wing or anything I could do. It wouldn't respond. It hung for a long time. Watching the video, it didn't look that long, but it sure felt like a long time to me. And I'm thinking, no way am I going to crash this thing in the final, third place or whatever. And finally, once I knew it was gone, I just kind of braced and waited to see how it was going to go in. The sponson deland is what caused it. Really, really lucky. Or I guess I'm glad that it happened right in front of the crew, so they could see the parts falling off of it, as it took off. Because if it happened on the other side of the bridge or something, they'd say, "No, you're full of it. There's, you must have been doing something wrong." So,
got the evidence.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of the pictures that showed there was pieces coming off of it also, and we've been fighting that spot for a long time, and we actually got in there. We fixed it, and the best, we thought there's no way this can break again. And we actually saw a few times where it was stressing again. So this season, actually, I think it was in Madison again. We actually found the broken frame that it looked fine, but once we got in there and had the deck off of it, we could see it was broken, and that was causing all the problems.
Good, you guys found it.
Yeah, there's just
no. Actually, it's. I'm not. I was thinking about that when I found out that it was from the sponson delaminating, and it was the right sponson, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, what would be worse, blowing it over or going into a turn and the sponson blowing apart and then barrel rolling? I'm like, I'd probably pick a blowover over a sponson blowing apart going through a corner.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, our blowover was the best situation because it scrubbed all the speed before it came down. It didn't go in crazy. It wasn't upside down. So, you're going so fast.
High, though.
Yeah, it was high, but as you guys know, you hang up there for a while, you lose a lot of speed and a lot of inertia. So it looks spectacular, but it's better. But going into a corner and having the boat fall apart would be, catastrophic. I can't imagine the guys take those hits.
I've had a sponson blow off on a 2.5 stock, and then I stuffed the 350 and even in the smaller boats, just coming to a fast stop like that hurts. And so I couldn't imagine a sponson blowing apart on an unlimited and coming to a dead stop like that. Just like how is it J. Michael Kelly in turn 1 at Madison, I think last year.
Yeah.
And he spun out, and
yeah.
that was a pretty fast stop. That had to hurt a lot.
Or you could hit the wall in the rooster tail.
That's
a sudden stop.
JW
So there are always worse outcomes, right?
Yeah, especially when you see it coming for that long.
Yeah.
That video is insane.
Yeah, I don't know what the way he was headed towards that wall. I probably would have been trying to unbuckle and get the hell out.
You tend to do that.
Looking for the eject button.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
What's your thoughts on the starting procedure that's in place this year?
It's I'm honestly not a big fan of it. I know the loyal hydroplane history guys and the guys that want to stick to the true history of the sport, they love it. I'm not a fan of it. I would like to see more of the HRL format, more of the earn lanes format, but at this point, it really hasn't been open to discussion. They want to kind of run it how it is, see how it works, and see. And there's people that absolutely love it. In my opinion, the people that love it are I don't think they see the 2-boat team things that add up to the different strategies that go into fighting for it. For a team like ours, if we go out there and bust up our boat before the start, we're done. But some of these guys, they've got so many extra parts and pieces that it doesn't matter. They have teammate boats, they have spare boats. So for us, we got to be really smart about it. So we have to be a little cautious, and it makes it to where we can't do some of the same things that these other guys do. But it's the cards we're dealt right now, and we'll do the best we can with it. But I would like to see qualifying play into to an earn lane format and make qualifying exciting. We go out there and run the guts out of these things for a few points. And, people say, well, I'm just going to show up on Sunday for the final. Let's make them want to come and watch qualifying. Let's run the guts out of them and run fast and put on a good show. And then, every heat matters. So, that's my take on it.
That's how HRL is. I mean, you could go out there fighting for lanes, like say an APBA, and you go to the championship event and there's no eliminations. You can just take it easy every qualifier and not show your cards, and then the final comes and then you go hard and put it all on the line. That doesn't make for great racing during the qualifying heats, and these spectators are paying a price for a ticket to come watch every heat, and I'm pretty sure they want to watch a good heat every time those boats hit the water. So, I don't know if there's a right or wrong with this. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, because with established lanes, we've only done it with classes that have eliminations, that have 15 or more boats in a class. So I don't know how it would go with H1. It could be great. I could be wrong, or it could be bad. I'm not sure. I think what needs to happen is they need to give it a try for one weekend.
Exactly.
Let's just say, let's do it. Because taking a look at the future of the sport, you really want to try to put your best foot forward and try to deliver the best show possible. So if they could do that, just to say, hey, if you think this is a bad idea, let's try it for a weekend. Let's just see. And if it's bad, then let's go back to fighting for lanes. Because I'm always, like just how we approach setting up a boat. We'll try anything once. We're not going to be afraid to try anything. We go backwards. The next heat we go out, we're going to go back being to where we're at, and try progressing from there to get better. So I don't know, maybe H1, hopefully they watch the podcast, and then maybe they'll be like, hey, let's just try it for one race. Not this weekend. This is the Gold Cup. We gotta let it play out the way it is. But hopefully, they do try it for one weekend in the future.
Yeah, we tried it. I don't remember what year it was. I think it was like 2018 or something down in San Diego, and we had a shortage of boats, and I was in the 440, and it was kind of an abbreviated format, but they ended up telling us what lanes we were going to be in. And with the 440, I didn't want the inside because that boat, it just can't turn like the other guys, and it can't handle the rough water. And I wasn't going to put it in a bad position, but they said, hey, you drew lane 2, you're in lane 2, and it was a good.
Yeah.
I think it worked out great. We left that weekend saying, that was a really good format, and it kind of leveled everything out. If you're going to be hung out on the outside, you're going to put your outside setup in. You're going to be able to run fast, and yeah, everyone was pretty even. So I think it's something that I think we should not write off. We should explore it a little bit if we can. And I've heard people complaining and whining and saying, well, you guys have a propeller builder on your team, and we just don't have that many propellers. And it's comical because the second that we had a 2-mile race course pop up at Tri-Cities, a truckload of gearboxes shows up. We've got 2 gearboxes and these guys got 20. So
yeah,
I think
they cost what, $50,000-$60,000.
I think they're even a little higher than that. Yeah. So it's level for all of us. We just have to just keep our options open and keep exploring some avenues that can make us all competitive and a good show.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got to work within the means, and I think, like you said, they tried it a few years ago, but I don't think the quality, the caliber of competition was there like it is today, where all 6 of you guys going to this event are equally as fast. I mean, maybe one stands above the rest here and there, but I mean, now it's got the competition. That's why it works in HRL. You have such a high level of competition in the boats that it makes the show so much better. The show's never over before the start, except for a gun jump. And I definitely think it's something they should open up and try again and give it a maybe 2-3 races, see how it goes, see how the fans react. In today's day and age with social media, it's so easy to see.
Yeah.
You're going to have to weed out those diehards, like you said, that they just want fighting for lanes because that's the only way boat racing should be. But other than that, we got to look at new fans. I had a conversation with
age.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with Dave Villwalk this week, and he said back in the day, same thing. A guy came in, promoter, did not like the way the starting procedure was, and I guess Unlimiteds went back to flag starts then.
Yeah.
He hated it, but then once you saw the show it created and what they could grow from that, then it was a beneficial thing. So it's got to take a step back, especially as leaders of H1 or whoever, APBA, whatever series you're in, and go, all right, what do our fans really want? What do our new fans really want?
Yeah, and the referees, these poor referees, they've got a lot to watch, and if we're having so many issues before the starts, with people getting, losing their lane or cut off, or if they're watching lane encroachments and all the things going on, it just adds to the possibilities of having a call, decide the outcome of the race. So if we don't have to worry about the before the start, having a call, we can go out there and race our boats. And, if somebody messes up and pushes everybody wide or pinches somebody off, then make a call. But other than that, let's just go race boats and let the referees, be a spectator also and make it a little easier on them.
I feel like it's so hard just for fans to even know who won the race, because there could be a penalty that nobody even saw or whatever, and all of a sudden 30 minutes later they lost that race that they thought won.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
Easier.
For sure.
I'm optimistic. I think the guys that are running everything right now, we got to give them some time, and they got to let it play out a little bit and see what improvements they can make. And I'm not going to pass their judgment, and hopefully the fans don't pass judgment. And let's finish this race. I think this is going to be an all-around fantastic event, as a whole. And we can go into this off season and say, hey, what worked, what didn't work, what can we improve on, and go from there.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely think that you see it. H1, I feel like, is in its biggest growth stage that it's been in the past 20 years that I've paid attention to it. With the different sponsors, the Mercury's, the flavor pack, like you guys have Beacons involved, Goodman, all these bigger names that can help grow the sport. And I think what, like I said on a previous podcast, what Mercury's doing for the sport and what they're doing at each race is definitely going to show other companies that this is a product you can sell. And I think that's one great thing I've seen this year with that. But yeah, as you said, San Diego is going to be a huge one. How do you feel with it being the Gold Cup? What does the Gold Cup mean to you?
Well, I mean, it's the absolute pinnacle. It's the Super Bowl. All of us boat racers, we know what it means. It's hard to translate that to the fans that are new to the sport, but everything comes down to the Gold Cup. It's the biggest race in any boat racer's career. Years ago, I was just so excited to be racing at the Gold Cup. In Detroit, we had the 440 there a couple of years, and I thought, man, I took a step back and just thought, I cannot believe that I get to actually race for the Gold Cup. How absolutely cool is this? And I didn't have a chance of winning unless something crazy happened, but just being there was really special. And last year was the first time that I really had a chance to go out and win a Gold Cup. And I tell you, I didn't sleep for days before, just trying to think about everything, and it's just in awe over the event. And I was pretty new to that boat and just wasn't quite there yet. And we have a short season, so it's hard to get experience in these things. We only get a few races, but this year I'm a lot more prepared. I'm a lot. I just think I'm more equipped to go into this event, and I think we have a really good chance to win it. And if we could pull off a win here, it would be one of the top three pinnacles of anything I've done.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, just seeing what your team does and having that opportunity, you're a one boat team. You got a lot of guys that just put in a lot of hours on that thing. That would be incredible to see. I mean, obviously all these other teams have a lot more people around them and two boat teams and this, that, and the other. You guys work hard for everything you got, and that doesn't go unnoticed through the rest of the racing community, I don't believe. So we're excited to see you take a shot at it for sure. What do you think about it being at San Diego versus other courses it's been at over the years?
I think it's pretty cool that it's down there. It's as close as we get to a stadium race course. The beach is absolutely perfect. The waves don't bounce off and come back. They break. It's always beautiful weather. The engines, they like being at sea level. The jinx it, but there's hardly ever wind. So it's a great place to run a boat race, and everyone's in a good mood. It's a great place to wrap up the season. And last year having the Gold Cup in Seattle as the final race, I think really worked well, because you end your season with your national champion, your Gold Cup champion, everything's done. And so I really like that it's going to be down here. And it's, from what I've heard, it's mostly all positive. It's a fast race course. It's competitive. We can run a lot of boats, side by side, and it's built for boat racing.
Nice. Awesome.
Sounds like couldn't ask for more.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So, yeah, besides Unlimiteds, you've raced in numerous other classes. Tell us about some of your racing career.
Yeah, I've worked my way up through pretty much all of them. I started in outboards when I was 10, and raced in most every class in the outboards. And I got a chance to drive an inboard with Justin Weymouth. I think that's when I met you guys, and we ran 2.5 mod. We got to travel a lot with that. We went to New Zealand, and we did really well. And I drove some 5 liters. And then Rick and Sean Bridgman asked me to drive when the G boats were going on, and unlimited lights. So I ran a G boat and unlimited lights, and we ran Grand Prix for a ton of years with those guys. We had a wonderful time. Drove Grand Prix with Scotty Pierce and Sue Pierce. And then, Kelly called me up out of the blue and said, "Hey, you ever want to get qualified in an unlimited?" And it's that never happens. That never, people don't just call and ask that. So I said, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I've been racing every summer since 1990.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Don't show your age. That's the one thing on this podcast. You're not supposed to show your age like that.
That's all right.
And now you talk about the stress levels. Obviously, you've driven a lot of boats, as you said, but now I believe your daughter's racing. How's that stress compared to getting in the unlimited?
It's pretty stressful actually. This weekend, she's actually she's going to her first race by herself. She's borrowing my truck, towing her own trailer down, setting all of her stuff up, and she's going to race all by herself. And I'm sure she'll have some help down there if she needs it. But yeah, I'm a little worried about about putting her out on her own. But she's a smart kid.
I'm sure.
Yeah, she's doing really well, and I'm having a ball with her. And luckily, my wife Rena supports it also, because that's the other half is having the family involved. So if we're not at a unlimited race, we're at an outboard race, and last year she ran the 1 liter a few times also, and for Brian and Aaron Perkins.
How's she doing that?
She loved it. She had a blast. Yeah, she ran Black Lake and she ran Lawrence Lake, and she got her card signed off and loved it. But we just haven't had any free weekends to go out there and run it much this year.
Yeah, that's cool. So is that her next step, is to coming into inboards?
I was actually just talking to Brian about that today. I think she needs to focus on school for a little bit. So I think she's going to stay racing some outboard stuff next year, and she wants to be a vet. And so she's going to start college here in a month. And we're going to have her focus on that. When she's done with that, we'll go back to racing and probably get into the inboards.
All right. Cool. That's a good plan.
Yeah.
All right. So we want to do some rapid fire questions?
Yeah, you can do that.
All right. So here we go. These are rapid fire questions. I'm just going to read them off, and you try to answer them as fast as possible.
Okay.
All right. Your favorite class to race?
Unlimited.
Chevy or Ford?
Ford.
Favorite place to race?
Man, probably San Diego.
Hardest course you ever raced?
Lake Hopatcong, I think, was one of the roughest.
All right. All right. Coors Light or Miller Light?
Coors Light.
Who's your biggest cheerleader?
Well, that's a tie. My wife and daughter are pretty even.
It's a good answer. Who's the toughest driver you ever raced against?
Tough can go a lot of different ways, but I'll probably say J. Michael.
Would you rather ride in a skiff or a cracker box?
Neither. Those guys are crazy.
Who would win in an arm wrestling competition, you or Taylor?
That's not even a question, me.
All right, last one. If you win the Gold Cup, how are you going to celebrate?
We are probably going to drink copious amounts of alcoholic beverages and enjoy all that San Diego can throw at us. I couldn't even begin to imagine it, so we'll see.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm excited for you guys. Hopefully it's a good race. Obviously, they'll have good weather there. Corey Peabody said you can't beat it. There's palm trees, so so there's palm trees everywhere.
That is true. Yeah, we've got a few crew guys that pick a few races to go to. They don't go to all of them, and it turns out I think they're all coming to this event. They've all made plans. They're all coming in to help out. So that just shows you how not only important the Gold Cup is, but how great San Diego is to race at. Is everyone wants to go there.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool.
This is going to be huge growth for that race. I mean, the 13 Grand Prix that are committed to go there is going to be incredible for that show. And the Y boats, the flat bottoms, it seems like they didn't take being off a year lightly. They came back with a vengeance and want to put that race back as one of the number one on the circuit. So it's going to be exciting to see for sure.
Yeah,
Dustin, I think the alcohol's going to have to wait. Your wife said you're going to Disneyland.
We can go to
Super Bowl
Disneyland after.
answer. That's not a boat racing answer.
Yeah, it's I don't know. We've all talked about what we would do, and we have our own little things that we do every year in San Diego, and we head down to the coaster and have some dinner as a team and just enjoy each other's company. And so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, a win would definitely be pretty darn special. And like you said, watching all the other classes, my daughter and I went down to Parker this year and watched the K boats run and the other flat bottoms, and what a fantastic show. As you guys know, I mean, I'm a huge Grand Prix fan. That's right up there with my favorite classes, and seeing that many quality boats, I can't even imagine it. This is better than you could draw up, as a plan at the beginning of the year. So it's gonna be pretty cool.
For sure. Yeah, it's going to be intense to watch. Unfortunately, we can't make it out there this year, but next year it's on the list for sure. And it's just going to keep growing. I mean, like we talked about before, the H1 Unlimited's on the rise. A lot of things in hydroplane racing as a whole are on a rise, and now we're here. We've raced all season to get to this point at the Gold Cup, and we definitely appreciate having you on. And we wish you a lot of luck, and we expect to see you in lane 1 this time.
I'll be there. You can count on it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, and hey, good luck and go kick some ass, bud.
Thanks. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys here soon.
Good luck, Dustin.
Thank you.
Yo, who let her on?
Yeah, I just texted Austin.
I didn't do shit.
Well, I do have some results from Brewster, so I figured I would come on and give them.
Wow.
Well,
West
don't
Coast
people
results?
the people who were there know the results?
It's the only ones that matter.
Right? So, in the 1.5 liter stock, these are overall for the weekend. Alex had a problem with her spreadsheet and lost it, and she has to redo it, so she could only send me the overall. But in the 1.5 stock, in third place overall was Madden Henshaw in the T3. Second was Carson Kelly in the T8. First was Haley Scarborough in the T1. In the 2.5 mod was Marissa Bartels was first. Preston Ritz was second, and Justin Burnett was third. In the E350s, first place was Jeff Bernard. Second place was Kip Brown. Third place was Chris Bertram. In the 2.5 liter stock, which she didn't send me the sheet for, but I'm pretty sure it ended up that
J. Michael.
I think J. Michael might have taken it. I don't know.
I think he might have got second overall.
Yeah,
so.
I think he got second overall. I think Kyle Davenport got first overall. Second, because J. Mike didn't finish one heat on Saturday. I think he got second. And I believe it was Jaden Deathridge was the other boat there, who would have ended up third.
Nice.
And want to send thoughts out to, what's her name? I can't remember. Katie, who went over in the turn. And apparently it was pretty scary for Kip and Tiffany for a little bit when they were bringing her in. And glad to hear that she is okay from her accident this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. That was one nasty spill. I've never seen a boat do what that one did.
Yeah,
Just kind of hook on the right side of the boat and just pirouette. That
never want to go in face first in a breakaway lid.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I don't know. That's definitely scary.
Yeah, they said part of the problem was her windshield broke and did something with her mask, so she was struggling with that.
Yeah,
that's definitely scary.
Hats off to Jeff and them guys to put her back in the boat the next day too.
Right.
Just get over that. You can't spend all winter. I don't know how many races, how long it would have been until she got back in a boat. That stuff eats away at you. You need to get back in right away.
Yeah.
So pretty cool that they did that.
Yeah, be like you and just sink a skiff, hop in a 350, and hop in a Grand Prix. It's just normal.
That's it. I mean, the only problem there was my legs were tired from swimming. Couldn't press the wing anymore.
Damn.
Oh man, who needs that?
Nobody.
Yeah, they do. I can name someone.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna name any names.
It's just locked in, bro. Just locked in.
Locked in. Actually, there's a couple of people thinking about it.
Right.
But anyway. But yeah, so then we also had Mesa Landing. You have Mesa Landing results on hand?
No, I haven't received those yet.
So I think only skiffs were there, is what it seemed like. There were
T-boats.
13 or 14 skiffs at Mays Landing. And they ran like 3 finals.
Didn't Bars finish first overall?
Second. Billy won.
Second.
Billy
won? Okay.
Billy went first overall for skiffs, Bars second.
Okay.
I don't know about third, but then T-boats, I know I'm going to take a random guess and say maybe Bennett in the T5 got first
probably.
place, and then
Yeah, I
followed
know. I saw
by
Rich got second.
Brendan. Or I thought Brendan Ebling.
Yeah, Brendan got
Ebling.
second.
Brendan Ebling got second place overall, which is awesome.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
And then I think followed by Richard Shaw for third place.
Yeah, it was
That guy
cool to
seemed
see
like-
Brendan out there racing because I saw that he's getting back deployed here shortly,
Yep.
so he'll be out of racing for a bit. So glad he got a little racing fix.
Yeah, that's
before
pretty
going
cool,
Back
and-
overseas for us.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Go and serve our country, and that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
so shout out to him for his service to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was 5 T-boats there.
Yeah.
But talk about the West Coast. They have 8 or 9 wet T-boats out there. That is pretty
Yeah.
freaking cool. I think coming up, once we get past San Diego, I think we're going to have Kip Brown on for a little bit to talk about how the T class has evolved out there and how everything's going, and so that'd be pretty cool to hear all about that, because it's a bunch of young kids racing T-boats. So it's definitely going to help grow the sport out west, and mix it up a little bit, get some new blood out there, get some old drivers out, some new drivers in. Just kidding, old drivers. You can go to vintage. You don't need to quit.
It is pretty cool when I get the summary sheets from out west to see that I do believe the T class is the biggest class out there, and to know that they're all kids, not people that's been in the Hall of Champions and using the class to get there again. And it's just awesome to know that there's young kids coming into the sport, because we need them.
Yeah, the class was never out there. This is start of it, so it's kind of cool. Kind of started out there and then kind of hurt us on the East Coast, but obviously we could bring 5 boats to Mays Landing, so it's pretty cool as well.
Yeah, so shout out to Kip Brown, and I think Strong Racing Daryl Strong had a big hand in helping grow the class out there, and I think everyone's just following suit and getting their kids in boats and getting them on the water to experience what hydroplane racing is all about. It's pretty cool. I mean, just like HRL's doing with the novice class with the outboards, having those come around with the HRL circuit and getting those kids, involved in boat racing, and then hopefully, when they get done J-Stock, they either, step into someone else's boat or purchase a boat and start racing their inboard racing career.
Yeah, once they're hooked, they're not getting out. So we got to hook them young before they get into go-karts or soccer or things like that.
Yeah.
Because it takes a long time to get them back to boat racing.
Yeah, go-karts. We knew that wasn't working out pretty quickly. Or golf carts, or
or
rockets.
mini
pocket
or
rockets.
pocket rockets.
Anything motorized did not go well for me, but
Yeah.
boats are going good so far. I'm not going
That's
to
it.
wood.
But how about that? Y'all see the Chasin Tails effect again at Mays Landing, that they finally listen. You have a field of boats like they did for the skiffs, and instead of just saying, "Oh, you got one heat, go home for the day," they did multiple finals that I don't think counted towards points or anything like that, but at least got those boats out there to go run their boats more than just once a day if they got eliminated.
I called
That's
Dave
cool.
Shaw the other day for something, and he says, "Oh, I got you. I want to explain to you before you get the summary sheets how the skiff class worked. You got final A, final B, final C, and this one goes here and that one goes there." And I'm just like, you know what? I'll talk to you when I see you. I wasn't going to try to remember it all.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because all said and done, you have only a couple people in each class who's actually trying to go for a championship, but you have the rest of the people in the class who just want to show up and run their boat. They just want to race. They just want to get on the water, race, and have fun. So to be able to get these other boats out in the water more than say once a day is pretty cool, because when you have eliminations, you're in the APBA format. You're only going to run once a day if you're 6th slowest or 7th slowest. So to get these boats out in the water is a huge thing, I believe, to help grow the sport. Because if I was a spectator and I wanted to get in boat racing, but I look at these, I look at these classes. Well, why didn't that boat come back out? He only ran once today. oh, he's the next day. Oh, why did he only run once again today? He only gets to run 2 times out of the whole weekend. Traveled 10 hours to run 2 times. Here's my rant for the night. APBA needs to change the format. They need to go to a 3 qualifier, 1 final, and if you have eliminations, have a consolation heat. So that means you have one guy who races 5 times, but everyone generally races 4 times at least. So
imagine the Nationals final with that format. How crazy
Well, it adds up to it.
Cutthroat that would be. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, you go back years ago when it was bigger, a lot more boats, and we kind of had that. Like the Triple Crown was a 2-day format, and Nationals prior to just the Triple Crown, you always had to do 2 qualifiers in a final if you were in that class with eliminations. So they essentially had that format, but we got away from it probably because of lower boat count, things like that. But I mean, you got to bring it back for these classes that have eliminations, give people more time on the water. But hats off to these committees to think about it and do what they can within the rules. And hopefully Lake Pacon does the same this weekend. I mean, they got a ton of 2.5s coming, a lot of skiffs.
Yeah.
There's guys traveling down from Canada that they might be like, yeah, I probably won't make the final, so I'm racing once a day. It'd be nice for them to be able to race twice a day.
Yeah, I mean, maybe what they need to do is just say, hey, anyone trying for high points this year? If not, then be like, hey, can we run a format where we run 3 qualifiers and 1 final? Yeah. I mean, there's a point to where you want to put on a better show of your spectators than the actual follow the messed up APBA point system. I mean,
100%.
You can run the multiple qualifiers even if they're running for high points. They get their best qualifier for points.
That's true. You can do that too.
But don't they only get 1 day then instead of 2 days?
Nope. Madison, Saturday and Sunday were separate days. They ran 2 qualifiers and a final each day, I believe.
Okay.
Okay.
But that's what I think race sites need to start doing, because it puts more boats on the water. It allows these racers to race more. It's a better show for the spectators. And at the end of the day, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, I mean, especially, maybe it's not even just like Patty said, to go to keep the 1 day format, but do 2 qualifiers and a final in that day.
Yeah.
We have limited classes, especially if we get on that second rant and combine a bunch of classes. You get on the water more often. And I think I was just looking at it on here. I think Lake Pacon has 6 classes. So that's 12 heats in a normal format. They can fit in 20 some heats if they wanted to. So you could let all these classes run 2 qualifiers and a final and give everyone more bang for their buck.
Bill Pierce is probably watching, just fuming, wondering how is he going to get all those heats off if they want to do that.
As long as you got your helmet on when you hook the boat up at the crane, it doesn't matter. You got your job done.
That's a fact, because the only place where there's unsafe crane swinging is Lake Pacon. Actually, no. I just want to teach everyone, when you're at Lake Pacon and you go and you unhook your boat, don't push the ball away. Just let the crane operator take it away.
Yep,
because it's physics. When you push something away, it's going to come back if it's hanging. Oh, man, I can't believe that.
Head of rage, not out of science.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm better at raging. So,
yeah, let's look at that. I'll look at that list for Lake Pacon. You got a bunch of 2.5s. I mean, there's probably
a bunch of 2.5s, and at least 3 of them are going to be Hondas. So,
the bad thing is, got the approval for S104 to run a Honda this weekend.
They have to be approved to run with the
Honda. I think they're the
only
only Honda, though, right?
Nope. We have S104.
Coming.
Grant Hearn's coming, and Hinault is coming as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, we just need to get this Honda passed, because, I mean, at least these guys are going to come to Lake Pacon this weekend. But there was so much rumors going around with, having to be approved to race, which is true. Some race promoters don't have to pay tow money or prize money to these Hondas. So, it kind of scared boats away from, say, like Mott Lake. Like, we could have possibly had Eddie Canfouche there and Grant Hearn and maybe another Honda or two. I know it doesn't affect the West Coast, but us East Coast races, it's kind of hurting us not being able to prove these Hondas. So,
Right, and
Brandon,
as you go into more people getting the Hondas this winter, it's going to make it even worse.
yeah,
It's kind of just like, I mean, we've seen it happen before with the 350s, and now we're going into the 2.5s with the Hondas, and it's eventually got to change, but should change quickly or put some type of probation in it. Like, you can be there, but you can race for a trophy.
hopefully it
something.
changes. I mean, if people want to argue against it, I have with 24 hours, find me a brand new aluminum head, Esslinger head, or find me a camshaft.
Yeah,
The good
That's the problem.
camshaft.
can't
Try
get
to
any.
find those in 24 hours for me. And if you can, I'll drop this whole Honda argument right now. But, you know, you can't. The Esslinger heads, new Esslinger heads don't exist. And the Beauport head, people want to talk about the Beauport head putting out more horsepower. I have specifically had someone tell me on the dyno, the Beauport head puts out more horsepower than aluminum head. That person that told me that is still running aluminum head.
Love that.
So I mean, come on,
It's a patch on top of a patch on top of a patch.
Yeah.
Eventually, the boat sinks.
Yeah, I mean,
Not like a pack.
I don't know. We got to move into the future, guys. I mean, right now, APBA 2.5 stock is stuck in the 80s. And this is 2024. So, all right, I'm done with that rant now. Let's
Brandon,
go.
who do you have coming in 2.5 stock this weekend? Because I had 4 or 5 people say yes.
Say yes, what?
That they're coming to Lake Apacon. So a lot of people aren't being truthful.
Well, what I seen was just posted by Caitlin not too long ago. The 27, 77, 26, 14, 35, 17, 92. And then there was also talk of the 21, the CS3, CS2, 74, and 104.
Wow.
I lost count. I ran out of toes.
Yeah, I think the last time I looked for Grant, I think there were 4 or 5 yeses. The rest were no's.
Okay. Wow.
And wasn't that the email that you sent out just to APBA though?
Wait, there's guys in the IRC who are voting against the Honda running.
What?
I was told in Bahornwall that the IRC is voting down the Honda.
They're voting down the Honda.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of these guys know anything? I mean, I would love to sit in a room with these guys, and I'm not going to the national meeting. It is a waste of money and a waste of time. But do any of these guys know anything about the 2.5, the parts for 2.5 availability, and or anything about the Honda, or are they just shooting it down because they want to follow their little group who is on the IRC?
I don't know, but when I questioned it and asked tell me where I could find an aluminum head, I was told I could use the Beauport head.
Yeah,
I said,
so
that's not my question.
The guy who did the dyno research on the Beauport head still runs the aluminum head. So if the Beauport head was that great, he wouldn't be running the aluminum head anymore.
Right. Well,
and he wouldn't have stockpiled 4 aluminum heads.
Right.
So, I mean, come on.
I laugh because we go back. I think it was the last IRC meeting I ever went to, and I was there trying to promote Willard going to the Duratec. Obviously, they shot it down. They thought Willard was hiding things and going to come out and dominate the sport, when really and truly he was just trying to help go to the next thing. So they denied that. Then they bring up the idea of the heads, and they're like, oh, well, we don't have any cast iron heads, so now we need to go to aluminum heads. Now I'm just wondering, where did all these cast iron heads come from? Because 10 years ago, they said we can't get any.
Yeah.
So people stockpiled them because they knew we're just going to keep patching it with something different.
Well, then if you can't get these Esslinger aluminum heads anymore, APBA needs to outlaw the aluminum head.
Yeah.
Go back to the cast iron. You can't have both. If you cannot get any anymore, the manufacturer said, if you want the aluminum head, we need to order.
There's still a stock class.
Yeah,
right. I'll remember 30? That.
Well,
it's still a stock class. It's supposed to be.
I think like one IRC member just put on there that they're okay with it as long as you reduce the cost. So like, if anybody wanted to see the spreadsheet I put together on how much the Honda could actually cost, it's about $7,000. Put in your boat and go. that reduces cost. That is something APBA could do. They don't have to wait for if HRL is going to open up the rule. They can just say, all right, we're going to open up the rule. But if you want to go race HRL, you have to have their sealed motor, which is no problem. You go and buy a long block. Now you put it in your boat. You don't need to buy the ECU and everything from up there. It's simple. I mean, the motor is pretty much stock. It's got Y-scope pistons in it. It's got some different valves, maybe some different spring pressures. But other than that, it is stock rods, stock everything. They just take the stock oil pan, cut it, put it in the boat. It's a pretty simple system. I think a lot of people are worried because of it being a one source thing, but it doesn't have to be that way. It can be easily fixed, but unfortunately, probably people don't want to do that legwork to make that happen. But maybe Chasin Tails will. Can we get a board member? Can we get a board seat? A group board seat?
Yeah, we just need one big ass seat. We'll be
That's
good.
it.
A bench. A bench.
That's it.
With Beep Beep behind us, just
That's it.
yelling
As long
at
as Beep
people.
Beep's there. I mean,
We
Beep
need
Beep's
we
in
need
here.
him there for
He's-
commentary.
His wife is about to let him buy a 2.5 stock, but maybe he's got to have the Honda. Maybe she's a Honda girl. Maybe she doesn't like Fords.
Yeah,
So maybe that would put him over the edge and have one.
I mean,
based out of
if
Madison.
you were buying a 2.5 stock, wouldn't you want to get a Honda since it's cheaper than a 1980s Ford 2300? I
Right.
mean, you
can
see
get
these guys
parts
selling
for
these Ford engines from anywhere from $8,000 to $13,000.
Yep.
I mean,
and that's like 10 years of use on it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
eight to $13,000 when we already did the research and we can put a Honda together for $6,000, put it in your boat and go.
The only argument they could have is that HRL courses are allowing the competition to be better because the Honda is faster on bigger courses. So you go to a place like Hampton, the Honda is probably going to dominate. But okay, so then you go get a Honda.
Then we go faster.
Go get a
Let's
Honda.
do it.
rather than
I mean,
rather than when you blow up your Ford engine and going and paying $7,000-8,000 to have that thing rebuilt,
And get
go
it.
buy
in
a
6
Honda for
months.
$6,000. Put it in your
Right.
boat and go. I mean,
Exactly.
it's more cost effective. It's less work. I mean, unless the sensor messes up, I mean, really, you just put gas in it and go.
I've burnt so many race pack sensors and shit. It's one and the same.
It's just one of the things. I will say, like, we go back to having Matisse on this show, that he's flipped numerous times, 3, 4, 5. I lost count. But he's got the same motor, same ECU, same wiring harness. Nothing's failed. And I think that's the biggest problem when you go to something electronic is in the water. But obviously, whatever ECU they're using is nice and sealed. It keeps on ticking.
So
Race
Brandon,
back,
you,
fried.
right? So Brandon, you over the course of trying to figure all this Honda stuff out, you know more about the ECU, and you were telling me that they're already getting as much as you can out of the ECU in this engine. That someone trying to hack in there, because I know there's some people that say they can get someone to hack in there and turn it up, but it's already turned up, right?
Yeah. So I talked to Mike Davies at SCCA Enterprise, which has been doing spec cars for numerous years. They have over 1,000 cars out there in the two classes with spec engine, spec everything. And he said, as long as you're building a motor that the ECU is tuning it to the max safe, then you're not going to get any more than a couple horsepower out of it by tuning it up. So that worry is out the window with
And
that.
they'll just
I mean,
watch their
if
engine
we
blow
were
up a
taking a
bunch.
300, if we were taking a 300 horsepower motor and detuning it, okay, now you're going to have to inspect that part. But he also said they have the ECU they use. He has a checker that you plug it into the ECU and within 2 seconds, it tells you everything in that program is either changed, things are changed or remain unchanged. And then they have a hefty issue on it if you do cheat that way. So it's simple. You're not measuring. How many people, inspectors, anything, know how to measure a carburetor, know where people cheat in carburetors? I mean, there you can spend $3,000 on a carburetor and get every little ounce of power out of it. You're going to get less out of an ECU.
I know at least 5 teams that have over $1,300 in one carburetor, and people want to argue about the price of an ECU when they're taking an ancient block of aluminum that has some orifices drilled in it and spending $1,300 on it. I mean, I understand
word
it's
for value.
racing and you want to try to do the best you can. But at what point when you just say, let's go to something simpler. Let's go to something that
Race.
Yeah.
we actually race.
races.
It's a stock class. It should be a stock class. If you want to tinker, go to 1 liter mod, go to 2.5 mod, go to national mod.
Yeah,
I
you
don't-
see where Tinkering's got those classes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I
2.5
think the
mod is
2.5
2.5 stock, right?
I
Except for
think the
one out west.
I think the 2.5 mod class at Lake Apecon may be the S104. Matthew Brown and Richard Hinnell, all 2.5 stocks.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. I mean, it's one of them things when you start looking into it a lot more, it gets so simple. It's not that complicated. I think people fear the overcomplication because they don't understand it. But just ask people. I mean,
How much should we get that Honda for that we have at the shop?
$500. And I believe you could, if we had a gearbox, we bolt it in the boat and go racing. I look at what them kids are doing with Hondas and Civics, man. They're running them, red lining them, all this stuff. Like the pistons aren't going to fail. So unless they're changing rods, which they're not, that stock thing can hold up.
Yeah.
I don't see why not. Why not try it? I mean, the Duratex that they're running, Conrad's running out west, are stock straight out of a junkyard.
Yeah.
But you know what? The reason why we haven't went to that, a new technology, because it's not faster. You can never bring in a motor that's not faster. So everyone that complains, oh, the Honda's faster. Well, duh.
Well, that moves me on my next point. You know, I'm not trying to slam what they just did in Australia. I know Kim put a lot of research in it, but I know Michael Weiner is trying to do something with the Mazda and maybe get that going over here. The Mazda puts out 155 horsepower. The Ford right now puts out more horsepower. Right. If I was to pick an engine, I don't even care if you said this Mazda is $3,000. Of course, you're going to go spend $10,000, $13,000 on the Ford where you can actually have a chance to win. You cannot bring in an engine that has less horsepower because less horsepower ultimately equals less speed. So it's just not going to work. I mean, maybe if you go to the Mazda Sky Active, I think it's the 2.5. That puts out, it's a little higher, but what did we come up with? 180?
Yeah.
180 horsepower?
Yeah, I think so. And he was saying some of those numbers are false. But I mean, again, you go through this process. We've seen it before with the way APBA board does it and even HRL did it. This has been being developed for 3 to 4 years. It wasn't just like they threw it in and was like, hey, buy a Honda because it's going to be good. No, I mean, Matisse has had that motor for at least 4 years. Maybe even before the 2020 COVID break.
Who else had it? Shannon?
Yeah, Tommy Shannon and Matisse were the original.
Yeah.
So they've had and if they do want to go to a new motor that's new, like that is in a car right now, that's a 4-year development. By the time you're done development and putting it in, it's probably going to be outdated. But that's okay because it's newer.
Yeah. I mean, you can still go buy a brand new Honda right now if you wanted.
Yeah.
I mean,
and there's so many parts. The thing after doing all the research and finding what parts, there's so many parts. I mean, we stick with this Wiseco piston. Wiseco is probably going to be making this piston for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And then they have every half a millimeter up with that. So I think someone asked on here, gearbox, word for all mounting the block off plates, gearbox, everything. It's right around $2,000, maybe even cheaper when you get dialing into it, especially if multiple people are buying. And then the gears are, I think, $60. So instead of buying a prop, you can have a smorgasbord of gears for $2,500 prop or a bunch of gears.
Yeah. You find one prop that works, and then you just start changing gears with that prop. I mean, I know that there's boats that ran the same prop, Hondas that ran the same prop all season, and they just switched gears if they needed to.
Yeah, it's a simple change.
So yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, the problem is go get 10 people, 15 people to all agree on something.
Yeah.
That's the
reason why skiff records still aren't frozen.
Yeah. I mean,
and by the way, we have talked to the record breakers from back in the day, at least one of them, that they're going to have one more shot at some records, and then we're forcing them to freeze. The Chasin Tails effect. We'll give them one shot.
I mean, the 2.5 stocks need to go to a spec class. That's one thing why I like Jersey speed skiffs. I mean, not the engines are spec. I mean, you can run a 305 or a 283. But
Yeah, there's a lot of gray area.
yeah, the skiffs have the biggest gray area because half the time they get caught cheating at title events.
Yeah, when the engine is the only thing you can change besides bottom of the boat and rudders, it gets kind of hard.
Skiffs are a very cool class just because there's not too much you can change with the hull. Unless you Rob Garantano and start hanging things off the side and off the back and changing that, which I don't know how you can go set a record with that stuff on the boat, but I wasn't the inspector.
What'd I just say? Gray areas.
Gray areas.
But
yeah,
like
skiffs are
about,
pretty cool.
About the 2.5 stocks being back to stock, the ideal that I think to create the Hondas, to keep it the spec that they're trying to keep, is you got to have multiple builders, multiple dyno facilities. Talking to Paul Barber, he said the 602 modified class is doing that same thing, where you have to go to a dyno and you have to be within X range, and then your motor gets sealed, you're good to go. And then some race sites, I think, even have the dyno on site. But I mean, that's simple. You have people in the middle of the country, Marty Wolf, he could dyno motors. You have out west, you have Marty Hack, he could dyno motors. And then East Coast, I don't know, Junior Keen maybe could do it, or someone else that's in this area, Region 4 area. And they're all certified. Like, they're not going to cheat. Like, if you get caught with a motor that's over horsepower and it came from that place, they're done.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty simple way to kind of keep that spec, keep that ideal of like, oh, what's that guy doing? Does he have more horsepower than me? No, he doesn't, because the dyno says he doesn't.
And if people are worried about having to ship their motor somewhere, and we found out with the GP this year, we're shipping Grand Prix engines from Delaware to Illinois, and it's not expensive.
$400.
I mean, and that's a GP
shipping.
engine. They go off size and weight. So
they even deliver right to Guntersville.
Yeah,
or Guntersville, as you want to call
it. So yeah, I mean, so you have options. You know, say you only start with one or two dyno guys. The shipping cost is not that much. The amount of money you're going to save from having a Honda built versus a Ford built, that shipping cost is nothing. So, but these people who are like, oh, I have 3 aluminum heads, 4 aluminum heads. It's like,
sell one of your 13 propellers and you can ship your engine, ship your Honda.
Yeah, there you go.
And I mean, again, if you have something spec and it's within a range, you're not going to have to rebuild them. I mean, we run 4 or 5 races on a 2300, and we're probably going to rebuild it this winter. Yep. That's $1,000 do it yourself, pretty much. Or you could pay some guys up to $4,500 just to refresh in a 2300.
Yeah,
it didn't even cost us that for the GP, but some of these 2300s, because you got to get every ounce of power out of them, are costing that. We'll fix it. Chasin Tails will fix it. Don't worry, folks. We got you covered.
We got you.
It's all right, IRC. I don't mean to bash you. I love you guys.
Now you're sounding like the rest of the ones that want rules passed. Yeah, back to the racing. This weekend's going to be awesome. I mean, Lake Pacon's going to have a lot of boats. It's always a good event. I think that place is one of the coolest places to watch racing from when they're coming down at you. You can see the air under the hydroplanes. You can see skiffs bouncing left, right, and not sure where they're going to go. So it's just a cool place to watch. And hopefully, if you're in the New Jersey area, head up to Lake Pacon State Park and go watch some boat racing.
Yeah, that's I remember going there as a kid. It was a pretty cool race. It's
that was the old location. You as a kid? That was probably the old location.
No, when I was younger, we used to race at both locations.
Yeah,
there's only a couple people that will be able to attempt it this weekend, but for those boats that are running 2.5 stock and mod this weekend, me and Kyle have a record for you to attempt to break. 16 possible heats, 0 legal finishes, 1 legal start. If you can do worse than that, I don't even know what you get, but you get a lot of shit.
Last year was not a stellar weekend at Lake Pacon for you guys.
No, it was not. That was a weekend from hell.
Fiberglass in the knuckles. They're getting a good number of 2.5 stocks at Lake Pacon. I'm assuming there's going to be a good number of 350s as well, possibly.
Yeah, they're not many registered. You got 3 fast ones. I know the Patrick Hayworth's coming and the Dog Nasty. I forget who the other one was, but I feel like there's going to be more that show up. You seem to always get
It's the 300
It's
going?
the new. Nah, 300's not going.
Not going.
It's the new Wildwood. We used to always have that awesome end of the year show at Wildwood, and now it's becoming like a pack-on because it's close to them. I know that's why all these races are happening in September. Everybody's competing over the last race.
There's nothing like Wildwood, though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, nothing against Lake Apacon, but Wildwood, you had the beach there, and it was pretty cool. You go karting, and it was just always a blast. So, Kyle, we were just talking about you and Austin's stellar record that you guys set last year at Lake Apacon with 16 possible heats.
Yeah,
16 did not finishes and only 1 legal start.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you go racing without Dave.
Hey, we went 8 for 8 in Decatur this year.
There you go.
So maybe it was me. I know I put the ice in.
Well, it wasn't just you, because the only reason it was 16 is because I was driving Greg's boat too.
Hey, we can call it 17 too, because I did try to race the pro stocks.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That was the furthest you made it out of the pits. Was against them.
It was.
Oh,
I made it all the way to the other side dock. Some dude's like, "You want me to turn you around?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna try to start the thing." That was a joke. Like that thing was gonna start.
Yeah, that was a tough week.
Breaking news. Inspections are complete in HRL, all except for H350. Everyone was deemed legal. Grand Prix was Ken Lupton, F2500, Eddie Canfouche, 2.5, Jacob Pinot, and Jersey Skiff, Jimmy Stewart, and Peg Awancio. So don't know why the 350 is not inspected yet, but we know that one was a close one last year. So hopefully we don't have the same outcome. Hopefully Fred was like, I'm just going to party until you guys are done the rest of them. Then you can come to my house. Don't ruin my party. So hopefully
that's cool.
Is that how they did it with inspections, with the race getting rained out and them telling everybody they can take off?
Most every time they bring them back to the shop. I think if you're like an American and you live too far away, they'll try to inspect you there. Obviously with the rain might have been different things, but definitely all the other ones go back to their shop and they can do it in closed doors. They're not trying to do it in the weather and all that stuff. So
fair enough.
So they did say that the inspections on the 350 class will be done soon and champion will be announced shortly. So hopefully all's good and you'll see the champion come maybe next week. We'll be able to announce it.
There's nothing like being inspected at a race though. Under a tent, 100-degree weather, pacing back and forth, just waiting them to say something.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. And you can't drink. That's the worst.
Well, you can't drink that. Yeah.
Really?
Nope.
Yeah.
You can't drink.
I don't know if it's
inspection.
like I don't know. Is it a real rule or is that just what like Poppy and Dad always told us?
No, it's a real rule.
I don't understand that. What are you gonna go do?
I don't know. Well,
yeah, it might have just
technically
been
it's
you
still
guys to
it's
still be
still
able to drive home.
Technically, it's still like not during the race, but it is
part
a
of the
roped
race
off
day.
section, and it's things being
It's-
lifted, could be dropped,
Gotcha.
engines being lifted. So
a
I
hot
think it's
pit
more of a
area, so-
safety thing. Like, yeah, it's
And you
kind of like
don't-
a hot pit area.
Yeah,
And
but
they
we
don't
try-
want you to
we-
get
we-
belligerent when they throw you out and they're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
you were cheating.
That-
No,
that-
I wasn't.
See, I
You wanna fight?
I like that reason better.
I believe
So somebody they commented on our Chasin Tails thing and said they're still checking the head on the 350. So must be some things they need to take an extra look at, and we'll keep you guys posted.
if
I
it
hope
comes
that's-
up just
I
a
hope
little
nothing.
bit, Hage Tools sends some really good measuring tools out, just so he. Fred's going to get it. I know he is.
Yeah, that was a good moment.
That was such a, to me, that's like, obviously Ken Lupton winning High Points was cool. They've been trying to do that for a while, but Fred just stepping in there and like, I don't want to say casually because I know he worked his butt off, but like just
Put
kind
it on
of
the table.
nonchalantly winning.
Yeah, I don't
a
think he was
350 championship.
ever mentioned as like a winner. We
No.
we picked Paul as teammate a lot, and we
Yeah.
made Paul fail a lot.
Yeah. It was cool though. I like, especially like halfway through the year, once I realized Fred was kind of right up there at the top. I started watching him more in the races, and I was like, he got better and better and better the whole year.
Yeah,
he did.
Oh no, he handled himself very well on that boat. It's pretty
And he was smart.
impressive.
I think he went penaltyless the whole
Yeah,
year.
he didn't get one penalty.
Yep.
Yeah, he said his worst race was the final in Sorel. He says the boat was full of water. It was crashing over the windshield, and he was just trying to finish.
He took second in that heat.
Yeah.
There's like 6 penalties. I think
Yep, so he was good.
I'm almost certain Carl St.
Oh, that's
Vincent,
how
who
Tyler
won the
won.
race
Everyone
on the
got a
water,
penalty.
took third because he was the first place out of the rest of the boats.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, I think so.
Dude, I remember watching Fred in that heat because you could tell he was just going for a ride, and that's turn 2 was a nightmare. He'd come through it and just
that was crazy. Yep. Yeah, he said he got comfortable in Valleyfield, so you only had 2 races left after that, and still able to hold on to the championship.
I mean, how does that make those competitors feel? This guy just got comfortable in Valleyfield, and there's only 2 races left, and this dude still wins the championship.
Yeah.
I mean, he just did everything right. I mean,
something to be said about not overdoing it.
Yeah. I mean,
consistency.
Hit his starts and ran clean.
Yeah, you guys got other guys going out there just full sending it and not coming out too good for them on the other end. But
some of these courses are just too rough for that, man.
Yeah.
At least this year. I mean, we didn't get like a whole lot of awesome water this year.
Yeah, I think you got 350. You got a new player next year. That Game On was rolling in Bournemouth.
Yeah,
dude, that one.
And I think he's going to compete with Bobby in the 300, and it's
now the question is, next year are we going to see Patrick in there? Or are we going to see Robobert?
I don't know. Definitely, probably Patrick for Sorel. I don't think Robobert wants to go back there.
No, that's definitely a good call. Because either way, the boat's running good. Either or can get behind and get the job done. But that boat is very impressive. They worked out a couple. It was having some issues in the beginning. They worked out a couple kinks, and they found a ton of speed. That boat, once it hit the water, once they figured out their issues, it was a force to be reckoned with, and it didn't matter if they were on the outside or inside. You knew it was coming. But yeah, like you said, the Game On, I believe it can run with Bobby King and the Pennzoil 300. I think the Pennzoil 300 found some speed. I watched it run at Mott Lake, and I know Mott Lake's APBA race, but the changes that they made to that boat, it made the handling from onshore perspective, it made the handling change 100%. It was way better than what it was. It wasn't doing anything stupid, and the thing was super fast. And Bobby King was driving that weekend. He did one hell of a job in it. I mean, he had that thing floating. It was walking just a little bit. It was handling beautifully.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting. We'll talk about it more next week, obviously, on the podcast, but the APBA Summer Nationals coming up, and I think they're going to have a dynamite 350 class. I believe the Game On's going, the 300's going, the 242. You're going to have a lot of fast 350s, and that's a great course for it, but we're going to get into that a little more.
The
in
300
detail
I'm sure is going too, right?
Yeah.
To Hampton, it'll be there. So I want to get more of a boat count, see who else is going. Maybe some of these Canadians will stay down between Lake Bacon and there. Obviously,
what
the
I
Dog
hear,
Nasty's fast. Be
there
cool if
might
they
be.
went.
And 2.5 too. It sounds like overall it's going to be a crazy boat count.
I know there's a West Coast points battle, like especially in 2.5 stock between Davenport and the S12 Monkey Business. So, I mean,
people
are
both
of them saying we're not going, but you're going to have one sneak out and the other one sneak out, and they both show up like,
coming.
you're here.
I know Monkey's coming. So that's we got to get Aunt Patty working on us a final count of who we think is going to be there next week or who's pre-registered, those kind of things.
Yeah.
And then figure it out. And then
I think Jeff Bernard in Justin Weymouth's, I believe it's the E3. I think he has a substantial lead in points. And then I think second place is Kip Brown. And then third place would be the E55.
Okay.
Mike Becky.
Oh,
now,
cool.
Rob Becky, I'm sorry. Is now I don't know how close the points are, but say if Jeff or Kip don't go down there, but Rob Becky does, is that gonna mix up points a little bit, or are we gonna have both of those boats come out from the West Coast?
Yeah. Maybe.
You know what I want to see? I want to see a couple T boats come out.
Yeah.
I want to see T boats come out and run the Nationals.
Yeah, that'd be
That
cool.
would be awesome.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Get those kids traveling early.
Yeah, exactly. Just send them in the truck. You heard what Dustin said his daughter's doing this weekend. You just take the truck and go racing. That's
well,
what
I think most of the kids out, some of the kids out there aren't old enough to drive.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
That is true.
I don't think Carson Kelly has his driver's license yet.
Right.
You can get over some stuff behind one of the strong trailers and
Yeah, exactly.
tow like four
just
of
as
them
they're
out.
coming back.
There
Maybe
you go.
hook onto one of these boats when they're coming back from San Diego from out east. Just let them come.
I mean, it would be cool. I mean, these kids out there in the T class. I mean, I know it takes a lot to travel across the country. Not a lot of people do it. There's only a few people that do it, and they're obviously it's one of the few people that chase a championship in APBA. But it would be cool just because I think the kids need that experience. So not the experience to drive. I think just the experience to travel across the country to go boat race and see what it's like. Because you have all that build up inside of you, like you're traveling across the country. You're going to race for a championship, summer national championship, and it's just a different type of feeling. Next year the Nationals are out west. I'm not sure what race has it, but I know the Nationals are out there next year. So speaking of, since the Nationals are out west, I'm not going to name any race names, but we might try to get the Skiffs Nationals on at a certain race.
Breaking news.
We're going to put in a proposal. We're going to try to get the Skiff Nationals somewhere. So all you Skiff guys better ante up and show up. I got to work on those Florida boys to come up. Jimmy Stewart. You already count on Jimmy Stewart.
Yep. That's 4 boats right there. That's it.
And
maybe another one.
And the Souls, I think they're always down for a good time and a good race. So
that's it.
I think they'll show up. Got to work. I know there's I think there's an outlaw race that same weekend, and I know some Skiffs race the outlaw race that weekend, but maybe we can work on a bar for him to come out too, because that dude's getting faster and faster, and it's why not, right?
Yeah.
Hardy maybe come out.
Hardy better be just hitting every race, because that he's turned that boat around 100% from when he first brought it out. So he needs to just come out more and more. It's either seat time or just tweaking that boat to keep getting it a little faster and faster. So
yeah,
I think
he spends a lot of time in the river.
Yeah,
he's always testing. I feel like it's a Skiff thing. If you don't test, you're not going fast. We don't test. That's why we're slow.
Yeah.
Jimmy
Stewart. I don't know. I seen
Jimmy Stewart text me today. He said, "Hey, you going to go testing with that new rudder on?" I said, "No, I'll see you in the first turn." He said, "I hope I got a better heat draw than you."
Jeez.
So, but yeah, well, hopefully, I don't know when they have to vote on that proposal for having the Skiff Nationals at a certain race, but you'll find out.
Should be about January 28th.
Yeah.
Probably about the same time they're voting on the Honda.
Yeah.
Hey, does Decatur have any titles this year? Are they the Easterns? Oh, wow.
Don't think so.
I don't think so.
Oh, wow. I would have thought they'd get a title. I knew they're trying to get GPA, but I heard there's some things going on with Gunnersville being on that same date. I'm like, we only got certain places to go race. We cannot put them on top of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully they get that straightened out.
Is Gunnersville moving their date?
Yeah, they're talking about going earlier in June.
Gotcha.
Still with H1 though, so I'm kind of I thought H1 doesn't like to travel multiple times.
Yeah.
But I guess they'd leave everything out here for that month somehow, somewhere.
Yeah, all you have to do is drive it up to Madison and park it in one of the cornfields.
Yeah, Or I figured that everybody's like, we'll just take our boats to Dave Bardish's shop and just store them with the rest of the fleet.
Well, from what I hear, Dave Bardish is coming out next year, but
Nice.
I think I heard that last year. But
yeah,
hopefully get Patrick or Burt back behind the wheel there. I don't know which one. Mean, Bardish has multiple boats. He could come out with 2 and have both of them drive. That would be pretty cool. And then I can just go drive the game on since they'll be busy with the.
There you go.
Busy with
the guys' name in.
So yeah, I don't know. We're already talking about next year, so obviously this year's still some racing to go in APBA. Like we have the Gold Cup this weekend, like Pack-On this weekend, Caesars Creek, Hampton, Lakeland, and then I think there's a couple races still out west, I believe. So
yeah, lots to go.
Still lots of racing. Yeah. Still lots of racing. The trees are already turning colors up here.
We're definitely going to have a lot to talk about next Tuesday. And who knows? Maybe we can get the Gold Cup champion on here. We'll see.
Either that or that Gold Cup champion's still trying to find the inside. I'm not sure.
Maybe. I guarantee he's going to have to find it to win that one.
So,
boys, you got any closing thoughts?
Yeah.
We can probably wrap this one up.
We had the Gold Cups coming. We have to do our picks.
Oh, Gold Cup picks.
We have to do our Gold Cup picks and then our GP picks.
All right.
Let's go.
To win the Gold Cup?
All right, Austin, Unlimited. But let's start with Grand Prix first.
Grand Prix. Well, I'm gonna go with one of the Lupton boys. They got their.
Well, you got to pick one. You can't pick both.
I can't remember which one's which. I still don't know. Even after
Ken's the white boat and Jack's the guy chasing sheep.
We're gonna go with Ken. I think their long setups from down under will translate up there, and they're fast. There's no doubt about it. Also, does anyone know if Eddie made it there yet? I saw him post right before we came on that he was lost and he didn't know where the address was.
I think he's there.
Yeah, I think I did see he's the first.
Has Elijah made it? That's the question.
Elijah's still lost. He's in an airport somewhere.
So yeah, for GP, I'm saying Ken, Lupton, and
all right, we're getting asked to pick the top 3 in GP.
Top 3 in GP. There's 13, so that's plausible.
I don't know if I know all of them, but all right, I'll go Lupton, Bernard, and let's go a weird one. I want to see like Josh Harnack. Just
all right. That boat's fast on a big course. Yeah. I like it.
I think it's the other thing, not to cut you off, but for that, we talked about it with Dustin a little bit about the assigned lanes format, time trials meaning a lot. This is a course where it's going to be hard to beat somebody from the outside. I think every heat matters. Managing your points matters. Not even just going for that win, settling in second so you get them 21 points or whatever it is in GPA, but same concept. I think that's going to be huge this weekend.
Yeah,
for sure.
Are they? Do you know Kyle, how many heats they're doing? Like what the format for that is? Is it 2?
Just a typical format. There'll be time trials on Friday, and then the 3 qualifiers in a final.
Okay.
And a consolation if they still have enough boats.
Gotcha. Yeah.
All right, Kyle.
I'm gonna go with the 50 to win it.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with Ken Lupton in second. It's a toss up between Bernard and Jack in third. I'm not picking between those two. I think that one just comes down to like lane assignment in the final.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah, I think all those boats have shown that they're some of the fastest out there, and
Jeff still holds the record out there.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And will that be broken? I think so.
I think it will be.
Yes, it will.
I think that might be broken in the first 8.
Yep.
I think you're gonna see some wicked speeds and time trials.
It's insane. Yeah. I think what was his record? Pipes, what'd you put on his shirts?
132 sound right?
132. Oh, time trials is gonna be 137.
Yeah.
Be my guess.
133 maybe.
They're going to be booking it. I would say if some of the boats get set up, because I mean, changing from what we run to a mile and 2/3, 1 test session, 2 test session, can you get it right on the gearing?
Yeah.
That's going to be the hard part. And if you don't get it right, are you still going to leg it when it's off the Revel and riff raff straight away?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting to see. And then, like, I mean, there's just gonna be attrition. I think when you run on a course that big, it's just gonna happen. Whether it's like catastrophic or just small stuff that can be fixed. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting seeing GPs coming flying on a straightaway for that long.
Yeah, for sure.
You just don't get to see that in the races that we normally see. The straightaways go fast.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be hanging them out there. I think if I had to go my top 3, I think knowing how fast he was out here, but he couldn't get the boat off a corner. And those are big corners. I'm gonna go with Jack to win it.
I like that.
Probably Ken second, Jeff third. But you got to mix in the 17, the 10, the 12's fast, the 15. They're so used to that racing.
This is a 20.
The 20, yeah. They're so used to those course sizes that they're going to mix it up. But I think it's those preliminary heats, that time trials that are going to set the tone.
Yeah.
And you're going to see who's fast and who's not. But there's always going to be a player. Did I tell you guys last week, or did you hear that it's going to be an 8-boat final for Grand Prix?
Yeah,
I don't think that's ever been seen. I don't think that's ever been seen.
Ever been felt?
I really hope they got 8 boats standing at the end because I don't want to see that bad.
I'd love to be on. I bet them fans are going to love that and be screaming for Grand Prix to come back.
What's awesome
who's
about
your top 3?
That course, though, is the run to the start. Like, I feel like it's one for it helps everybody get to the line kind of at a similar time. Just such a long run to it.
Yep, for sure.
All right. 3rd place. Too many boats and processing
loading.
The AOL dial-up's going on right now. It's a toss-up between Harnack and Jeff Bernard for 3rd place. No, all right, let's go 50. 50's 3rd place. Lupton and Lupton. Jack Lupton, Ken Lupton first.
You're not going to pick which one?
Oh, Jack second, Ken Lupton first.
All right.
I just have to back it up with the HRL champion. I mean, the man ran well all season. The handle of his boat's a hell of a lot better. Jack still has a little bit of a handling issue. Luckily, this is a huge turns here, so he's not going to have that issue coming off of a corner. And then the 50s, I know they heard an engine in Sorel, not Sorel, but Hornwall. But that boat it just keeps getting better. So
yeah, they're fast.
I really do think they'll pull off a 3rd, possibly a 2nd. I'm not saying it's just because they're HRL boats. I'm just, the way these boats have been running all season, they generally been finishing races all season.
Yeah, and you got to finish every heat.
You got to finish every heat. So it's hard to pick a boat that hasn't been finishing every heat. Because if they're running an 8-boat final, it don't matter if you win the consolation heat because you broke. You're going to be starting in lane 8. And with these big turns, if you're not lane 1, 2, or 3, I hate to say it, but I just don't see anyone from lane 4 getting around anyone on the inside.
Yeah.
I mean, could it happen on a 1-mile course? Yeah. But on these bigger courses, it just won't happen. The inside is more dominant on a big course like this versus a smaller course like a 1 mile. Because a lot of times on a smaller course than 1 mile, you don't want lane 1 or possibly lane 2. You want lane 3. Like Valleyfield, lane 3 is probably the most desirable lane.
Yep.
So I just think that a big course like this, what's that?
I said, tell me about it. I was there. And we couldn't run the final.
So yeah, I mean, I have to. The reason I went with my picks, not just because they're fast, is because they've been more consistent through the season and not breakdowns, and they've been there at a lot of races with good results.
Yeah, right. I really hope that the show is perfect for the fans there in San Diego and everything, and we can talk on Tuesday and be like, man, it was action packed. But I have a feeling that we're going to be like, I think if we had a course change, we could be better. But I'm going to hold that opinion until Tuesday because I've been proved wrong in my life before. Maybe I'll be proved wrong again. It's going to be action packed. I mean, the speeds, if the fans understand the speeds of these 26-foot hauls going over 170 mile an hour is what I believe they're going to go. That's pretty crazy. To think that an unlimited on that course is probably doing 190. Those boats are 32 feet long, a lot bigger, a lot more area. Like, we're going to be rolling in these little things.
Yeah. Not to mention that they're a lot lighter than unlimited too.
Right. Yeah,
they're
you're
half
talking
the weight.
3,200 pounds versus 6,000, right?
Yeah, they're half the weight. I mean,
yeah, we seen it with Ed Preston last year or 2 years ago. I mean, you're
thing.
going 170 mile an hour. You send that thing, it's flying through the air like a damn rag doll.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. So are we going to do
unlimited?
Top 3 in unlimited?
So half the field?
Yeah, no. I think just pick the winner.
All right, just pick the winner. All right, Austin.
I think I'm going to go with Corey Peabody.
Okay.
Strong all year. And I think I'll pull it out.
Strong all year.
All right, Kyle.
I'm going with Dustin. I think that course. I think that course is set up perfect for that boat and for Dustin.
I agree. That boat does love bigger courses. So,
like, I've seen at some of the other courses, like heats where he's like really competed. He's taken these huge wide arcs, like almost seems unnecessary, but it just keeps that boat running so fast. No. And like here, you don't totally have to do that.
Yeah, remember he had that setup at Gunnersville last year that ran 171 mile an hour. So that boat can cook.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. All right. Brandon?
Man, I would definitely pick Tate, but because he denied us coming on this pod, I'm sorry, but he ain't getting this one.
Then again, you have to go back to like with GPs. It's all about finishing. Well, with unlimited, it's all about getting the inside.
Right. He hasn't had a good track record in these finals. I mean, these guys turn it up in the finals. Whether you call it team playing, whatever you want to call it in these finals, people are bringing their A game. They're not going to play it in the qualifiers. So I think the guy that shined, oh man, this is so hard. Because I say the guy that shined, J. Michael in Seattle, I mean, he somehow can figure it out for the final. But I just don't think at a course like this, he has the boat speed. So I got to go with Corey winning it by a narrow margin. Over who, I'm not sure.
All right. I want to pick Corey, but picked him before. I'm going to go with Dave Villwalk for this one.
Oh, damn. I forgot about him.
I'm going to go for Dave Villwalk. And the man's going to retire on a Gold Cup.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty crazy.
And they
do have new engines.
To them, they got engines. They're turning it up a notch. They just went all through the boat, just like every other team. I know everyone works very hard in Unlimited, and it's a bigger deal with these boats to go through everything. I mean, it takes a week for you guys to take off deck hatches. You got like 200 of them. So, I mean, but
that's pretty solid.
They found so from their little incident from earlier in the season, they did find an issue and they fixed it. So the handling should be better. Believe they just acquired a new engine.
Yep.
So if the stars align right, I think this new boat is going to come out and shock everyone on a big course. I mean, like you guys said, Kyle said the bucket list likes these big courses. The bucket list was set up by Dave Villwalk and Kelly. I mean, not to say it was just Villwalk, but I've said before, and I'll say it again, Villwalk probably has more knowledge with setting up unlimiteds than anyone in the unlimited world right now.
100%.
The man's been behind numerous boats. He's won numerous times. He's a good driver. You know, a lot of people don't like him, but when you dominate for so long, you tend to make some enemies. So, and he did dominate in unlimited for many of years. So I'm going to have to go with him. I really think they're going to do it. Plus, who doesn't like a boat that's painted like the American flag?
Yeah, no doubt. And somebody just dropped in the comments that if he wins the Gold Cup, he ties Hanauer's record. And Dave's 70 years old. That'd be incredible.
That'd be crazy, yeah.
And we seen a few years ago when him and Jimmy Shane were running competitively against each other. He gets feisty. He can get in there and get the lane one.
Yeah.
Don't count him out. I mean, Jamie Nielsen's going to be in lane one. There's no doubt about that. He's getting lane one.
Yeah.
But 2, 3, 4, that's where the action's going to happen.
I mean, two years ago, you had a couple teams you had a team that was going out there, and their slow boat was the blocker boat, and all they did was try to go out and block Dave all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're afraid of the old man.
Yep.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting. So we got Corey Peabody on the pick. We got Dustin Echols and Dave Villwalk, and all three of those guys are super fast. I mean, I think it's anyone's race. I mean,
and I guarantee if any of those three win, they'll be on the podcast next week. So
yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely. And then you'll still have that one boat in San Diego still trying to find the inside. They're searching either that or eating a rooster tail. I'm not sure yet.
Don't forget, rules change. 7 boat lengths.
Hey, you can still eat a rooster tail at 7 boat lengths.
Yep, yeah, it's still getting wet. The salt's still going to get in there. You're screwed. So definitely want to stay out of rooster tails this weekend.
Yeah.
Don't be chasing them.
You want to get hit with water, go take a shower. Go to a water park.
But our picks are in. We'd like to hear y'all's. Drop them in the comments. I think unless y'all have any closing thoughts, I think that wraps it up for episode 22. Yeah. We'll be back on next week recapping the Gold Cup, Lake of Pacon, and looking forward to the APBA US Nationals. You guys got anything else?
Well, good.
I'll just everyone everyone go out there, give it their best, and stay safe.
Yeah.
Good luck to all the races.
Yeah, for sure. We'll enjoy the show, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you get all our updates. See you.
And share it.
And share. Sharing is caring.